Good morning, everybody. It's Marty the JavaScript Party. It is July 16th, 2026. We're officially over the halfway mark of July. So I've started this new sort of rebellious, fulfilling my need to be a bit rebellious from time to time. And I have my emoticon, which I'm absolutely forbidden from using at my job. So I'd like to do it here. Um, and it's kind of like, for me, the best way of sort of reminding me where I'm at, what I'm doing, and all that. And right now, what I'm doing is enjoying a fun project that I'm working on, because you can see emoticons. You can't see emoticons, then I'm not enjoying the fun I'm working. And working is different than having fun. So, and I'm sorry, I know as the Gen Alphas here in uh in the US would say, I'm giving preaching, like being very preachy. And I have actually sort of met my limit of how much I want to get preached to myself. The minute I'm watching a video or anything and it starts getting into that preachy mindset, I just immediately leave, because I just cannot handle preachiness anymore, at least for the moment. Um, but so I have this thing, and it says I need to load the group service so I can determine if other groups are using this mesh. So I think what I'm telling myself is that I need to update this mesh deferred dependency class to return the group service. And one of the just, it's not an angler's fault, right? But one of the most difficult situations, if you're working in the enterprise and you're using Angular, that you'll ever run into is when you have two separate streams of work that are working in two different teams, and they're both focused on a service, but they need another service. And so the team A simply takes the service and says and injects it, and then team B injects it, and they're all working independently. And then when they try to do the merge 2 days before the end of the sprint, and everyone's trying to merge all their stuff together, suddenly you start getting this cyclic redundancy error. And the problem with that error is it doesn't get caught during the transpiling. So CI/CD, it just breaks in QA, and no one can understand why. They'll be like, this one works, that one works, but then when we put them together, they don't work. And so that is so hard, and it's mostly because it doesn't get, if the transpiler caught it, so many issues with that wouldn't be as big of an issue. But the transpiler doesn't catch it; it's a runtime error. So anyways, that's what I'm trying to work around here. And there's nothing inherently wrong with having having two singleton wanting access to each other. There's nothing wrong with that. Um, it just doesn't work. I mean that so there is something wrong with it. It doesn't work. So get st group service, and then st group service, and then we just gotta lock this, and then turn st group service. Man, Rhett is quiet this morning. Usually I can hear her out there. She doesn't get to come in here today because the dogs, my daughter-in-law's dogs and my son's dogs, will be here, Pebbles and Roxy. So, so now we have our group service. So now we go back to our mesh service. And so we don't, in this function, we don't need the scene service. The scene service should go away though. So I think I'm going to undo this line of code and say st group service, st group service, st group service. All right, and then there's that, and there's that, and there's that. And then I guess I need to fix this comment because we're not getting, this is probably another one of those sneaky things that ends up adding a lot of friction to development is when you copy comments over, you got to remember to update the comments so that they make sense in the current context. And again, that's another one of those preachy things. I'm trying to get away from being all preachy. I don't know, like, I know the vast majority of people that watch my, I was going over it, it was like, I want to say it's like 90% of all people that watch my videos over the last year have not been in the United States. So it's just like we have a generation here in the US that is very um, like they have really changed the communication scheme, and they've made it much more about like a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them made it much more about like with the emotion that's being pushed out as opposed to the actual story. I think that I don't know. Just to me, it seems like the narrative of like one of the best ways to learn and remember things is through a narrative, like a story. And the story doesn't really have to be true or untrue, but I think that we've sort of gone through a phase that I think we go through in the US all the time where like the narrative concept has been weaponized. And so this latest generation just doesn't, they refuse to even listen to the narrative. They don't want to hear the narrative. They only want to hear the they are listening to what you're giving. Like, are you trying to trick me? Are you trying to? And then that's like another thing is we've in the U.S. here we've gotten inundated with scammers, either international scammers or and lots of American scammers too. So like literally like 90%, 95% of what comes through my phone is just one scam or another. So that's also sort of a reason why people focus more on the overall like aesthetic of things as opposed to the actual words. So they're reading and they're looking for misspellings of that you would rarely do in the United States, or like things that they're not really reading the story anymore. The story is ignored. But anyway, so next we need to update the st group service to have a function that returns a list of group IDs for a mesh ID. So basically every one of these will return a list of group IDs for a mesh ID. That's all the groups that are being used in it. And it doesn't look like it exists yet. So let's go to our st group service. And so this, yeah, so we're kind of like on the other end. The reason we did all that is because delete group has to delete its meshes. So then we have to do this, but now before we can delete something, we need to make sure it's not being used in any other groups, which isn't even possible right now. But as you can see, I have like you can see that you can actually visually see how many layers deep I am in the like, so this I'm doing this because of this. Now I'm back over here doing this. It would be kind of useful actually, now that I think about it, to have so that I'm 3 deep, and then I can see that over here I'm only 1 deep. So and then I can go back over here and well, let me finish this text. No, let's go back first. Back one more. So this is too deep, right? So this is being called this. I'm creating this because of a um, I'm creating this one because of another green. So this is a great, the best. I actually, this is a huge breakthrough for me actually, because this is been one of my bigger problems is I kind of forget why am I even doing this? But now I can know that, oh, I'm doing this because of something with two of these checkboxes, and then I can go find the two checkboxes, and I go, oh, okay. Um, but so now this is actually, let's go back to our two checkboxes again. We want to get group for a mesh ID. It's given a mesh ID and returns a number, which that number is going to be the number of. So now I'm looking for my 3. There it is. And that's what we'll work on tomorrow. Happy coding, everybody. Bye.